Hey, how you doing?
It's way better when there's people in here, man. It's way better.
I was going to say, makes a difference, doesn't
It makes a big difference, yeah. Just like the meetings, it's a way big difference.
Can you start by talking about Greg, just how you felt he looked in practice yesterday, and this is a shorter ramp up to a regular season than he normally has. Do you address that any differently than what you would in a normal off season since he hadn't had that?
Yeah, to answer the first part of your question, we had a really our first kicking session with the full group, with the whole O-line in front and the field goal block team. So that was a great first step. And physically, Greg said he felt great, which of course is all I care about. But, he probably wasn't game ready, which is okay because I think, with us getting, 1, 2, 3. I think we have about 5 more group kicking sessions before Tampa, maybe 6. To me, that's plenty to have himself get ready. So the physical part, he feels great. The confidence part will come with some more reps. And the second part of your question is this is a little bit unique because usually Greg had started kicking, a little bit earlier, whether it be like in the springtime or summertime. But I really feel this is going to be the best for Greg, and I'm not just saying that to help his confidence or just to make excuses, but we've had not problems in the past where we've overkicked in mid-season to the end of the season. He's gotten, whether it's a tired leg or he's, had a groin or had a back late in the season. So I think the later start is going to help him in the end, if that makes sense. So I'm very optimistic. I'm very confident. I've been with him now. This is the 10th year, so we know each other pretty good. And hopefully I can give him confidence like, hey, Greg, your experience in the NFL is going to help you. As long as you're physically feeling fine, man, we're going to be great. And I think he's there physically. Sorry for a long answer.
So is there not, John, a lot of concern about, the quick ramp up, being worried about a groin or something like that when he has to, here pretty soon do the real thing without sort of gradually kind of getting there?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. But he's been kicking now for about over 3 weeks, and we really slowly ramped him up, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, where we went with the first time he hit a ball, we deflated the balls to about 11 psi, probably pretty similar to, well, I won't go there, but we deflated the ball. So the first couple of kicking sessions, he just went one-step kicks on deflated balls, and then we progressed to, one-step kicks on inflated balls, and we went to 3-step kicks on the sticks. So I think we've really progressed in a really slow manner that will allow his groins and hip flexors and quads to not super compensate, I guess might be the word. So I don't think we're in any danger zone with where he's at fully swinging right now. And at least he says that too. And our trainers, Jim and really especially Britt, has really worked overtime with him during the summertime and then all training camp just to get him ready for this. And I think we're on the timeline that we had hoped for when we put this plan together.
Have you done that in the past with a kicker or a punter coming back from an injury, like deflate the balls to help in that recovery process?
No, I learned it I know Adam Vinatieri did it, I had heard. But a couple years ago when Greg had a little groin, we brought in Cairo Santos, who's now in Chicago, and he kicked for us for about a month. And that's what he did. And so we kind of learned honestly from Cairo about how to kind of progress back from a groin, because Cairo had a really bad groin in Kansas City, which cost him a spot there. And so that's the method he used, and so we picked that up. I think it was back in, might have been 2017 or 18, I can't remember what year. And then back when I was in Oakland, Janikowski had a groin one year that was really bad, and so we kind of progressed him back, and this was a mid-season groin, so we kind of did some similar tactics with him that I remember just from my history that we've used here with Greg. So it's really cool to learn a lot of different techniques that these kickers use to kind of rehabilitate themselves to get them game ready, and that's what we've done.
Okay, I'm not a science guy here. Why is kicking a deflated ball easier than an inflated ball?
I'm not a scientist either, so I probably don't got a good answer for you, but I think just the impact of hitting a deflated ball. I don't think it's easier to kick. It's just softer to kick, so it's less of a shockwave, if you will, through your leg, especially when you first get started. So we'll even do that once Greg is now fully healthy, which he is, just to get started warming up, just so the first few swings, a deflated ball is just a little softer ball, just to really just warm the leg up. And I don't know scientifically how to explain that, but physically that's, it's worked out for Greg, and we learned that from Cairo, and it's worked for Cairo since he got his groin.
How about timing issues with, obviously he and Jake have been together, but with Anger as your holder and things, how quickly does that come together?
Yeah, that's a work in progress. Yesterday was good, but I don't see that being anywhere where it's going to be here in the next couple weeks. And it's also kicking behind the line with the rush is a whole different perspective too. So putting it all together is going to take us 5 or 6, or we might even have 7 really good sessions before we got to do it live in Tampa. So yeah, the operation is definitely a work in progress, and we need as much of that work as we can get. But thank goodness we have an 11th year snapper, a 10th year holder, and a 10th year kicker that they can draw on their experience and be good really fast. And they're all really good athletes, so good athletes pick things up pretty fast.
How much are you in that Mike's ear right now as you're getting down to the cuts? Because obviously you're a guy with teams and you want the best guys possible, and they're trying to, cut the safety and those kind of things. How much are you in Mike's ear saying, hey, I need this guy?
Yeah, me and Coach McCarthy a couple of days ago had a really good talk about what the roster might look like, who might dress. I don't really ever get in his ear talking about who I need. It's really, honestly, it's really what's the best 53, and really more than that, what's the best 48 for the team. And I think Coach McCarthy has a real good respect of, dressing out a good special teams where the backups are, special teams guys. So I don't really have any concerns that we'll dress out a really, really good 48 when the time comes. But from that discussion, I think there's still a lot of things, honestly, up in the air when it comes to the 53 and especially the 48. So those will be continued discussions after Jacksonville. And I very much look forward to finding out who our special teams guys are going to be, because there's still a lot of question marks, which is normal.
John, how have you seen Donovan Wilson grow in your time here? What do you think his biggest assets to this team are?
Oh, my gosh. So when I came in last year, Dono was just coming off his rookie year, and he was just a special teams guy. He played a couple phases, and I didn't know Dono personally, but once I got in the building and got to know him, he's a hell of a football player. He brings a physical presence like everybody sees. But I think maybe to answer your question better is what people don't see is how willing he is to do whatever it takes to help the team, to be honest with you. Now it's starting at safety, but when we had him on special teams, we put him on all 4 phases. He started all 4 phases. He has as much respect as probably anybody on the team, in the locker room, in the meeting room. He's battled through some injuries in his past, and he's an overcomer. And he's just one of those guys that you just got to have on your team, and you want to be his teammate. I mean, I could elaborate on Dono so much, but he might be a very underrated person outside of the building, but in the building, I mean, he's critical, and he is just he's what you want, I think, kind of build your team around.
Just by the nature of rosters in the NFL now, there's always a lot of turnover on special teams from one year to the next. Who are some of the young guys or first-year guys who have come in here and shown really a knack or an aptitude for special teams and have caught your eye here early?
You're saying the current rookies?
Yes, yeah. New guys that you've just had a chance to work with this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's been even a couple of the vets like, Curse, Mo Kennedy. We picked up a couple guys. Keanu Neal hasn't played a lot of teams. Hopefully we'll get him on a phase. But then some of the rookies, there's really a lot of them. We have so many draft picks. But some of the guys that have proven to be pretty versatile and so far pretty valuable is, Jabril Cox has a good knack for some teams and playing football. We're getting Kelvin Joseph a lot of work. Nashawn Wright and Izzy have shown up. We're going to see a lot of our 3 running backs this game, Ralston, Knox, and Hardy, because, I know everybody's heard we lost Rico Dowdle, which is a devastating blow, to be honest with you, because he was such a huge part of our core 4. I mean, a third running back that can play all 4 phases and return kicks is really, really hard to replace. But we also didn't know last year at this time about Rico. I mean, we knew about him, but we didn't know that he was going to become what he is now. So hopefully there's still a few surprises in store, whether it's one of those 3 running backs, one of the young safeties, Nashawn or Kelvin Joseph at corners, hopefully going to be dressed on game day and going to have a critical role. So there's a lot of prospects and potential, but you kind of really don't know until you kick off a regular season game exactly what you're going to have. And we found that out with Rico last year, that he can ball. And Francis Bernard was, really valuable. And a lot of those young guys really stepped up. It's too bad we lost Shea Woe, Alana Lua, because he was going to be a huge part of our special teams. Sean McKeon, he went down with an ankle. So some of those rookies last year that we were counting on are down, which opens up some opportunities for the new rookies to hopefully surprise us in a good way. And it's still a work in progress because there's still some answers that we don't have. Woo. 2 weeks from today, right? Oh, damn. All right, here we go. All right, guys.
John, have you always had this kind of energy? When did you first have this kind of excitement for everything you do?
Well, I don't know if I do or not. I guess I just be who I am. But it probably goes back. I mean, just my love for football goes back to as far as back as I can remember, which is probably when my dad was an assistant coach at Weber State. I vaguely remember being on the practice field, but then he got a coaching job at Stanford, and I just ate up being on the grass, looking up to college football players like they were, the idols among all idols. And there's just nothing like football. It's just something about it just brings life out in me, I guess, and being around the players is just the ultimate joy. I don't know. I'd probably no better answer than it's just a lot of fun. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.